We're doing a psalm a day. We're in Psalms chapter 10. Would you join me as I read? The Bible says, "Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desires, and blesseth the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord. O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn God? He hath said in his heart, Thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king for ever and ever. The heaven are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. And so, as we look at Psalms chapter 10, once again, we see the common theme of, or the common way that it is put together is the question and the negative part. And then right at verse 12, it says, O rise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble, the turning point of this chapter. And so verses 1 through 3, we can kind of see that what the point is the Lord doesn't see the wicked and their sin. And it's kind of a question of, why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? In verse 4, it says, The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. And so the wicked man does not seek after God. He does not think of godly things. He thinks of worldly things, of self centered things. He's not thinking of the Lord. The Lord is not in his thoughts. In verse 6, it says, He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Notice he says, I. He has no part with the Lord. I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. In verse 6, in verse 11, it says, He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. And so this wicked man, he's denying that God will ever look at his sin, and that there's no final judgment. He will never see my sin. And verse 14, it says, Thou hast seen it. So we see God does see. He does see. It's in complete contrast to verse number 1. God does see. He's not standing afar off. He's not hiding himself. He does see it. And thou beholdest mischief and spite, to requite it with thy hand. And we see verse 16 that the psalmist praises the Lord. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heaven are perished out of his hand. And so the main idea of this psalm, at least from my perspective, in verses 1 through 3, sometimes it seems the wicked prosper in man's eyes with man's wealth, but we know as Christians that we do not live for this world. We do not live for the things of this world. We must remain focused on Christ's redemption on the cross and his return again to earth, and live our lives as if it could be over any second and any day, because it very well could be. And so I encourage you, if you're saved and you're a Christian, I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, keep spreading the gospel, keep being like Christ, and try to be more like the Lord every single day. At least that's what I try to do. And so, if you're not saved, don't be like this wicked man and have pride in your countenance. Say, God doesn't see my sin. I'll never be judged. Nothing's going to happen. God doesn't see anything that I do, because judgment day is coming. There will be a final judgment. And if you are not saved, you will burn in the lake of fire forever. Thank you for spending your time with us. And we will see you tomorrow for Psalms chapter 11.